Okay, I'm just getting all set up here. I just had a beanie on, so my hair is all hat here. Okay, so while we're waiting for everyone to turn up, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. So where are you from? What part of the world are you from? Let me see. Just wondering where you're from. So I've got Elizabeth and Taylor. I'll introduce myself as soon as I get a few more people in here. Nikki, hello. Where are you guys from? What part of the world? I would say most of my audience is American, but I get people from all over the world. Ontario. Oh, Canadian. Ottaviano. I'm sure I said that wrong. Norway. Hi. Oh, geez. Siege. Sure, I said that wrong. Norway. I'm Norwegian, by the way, my ancestors. Crystal from Maine and Kazakhstan, right? Yeah. Oh, you've been here before. I remember the name. That's one of my I had a student living with us. She was from Kazakhstan. Bobby from Wisconsin. I've got Florida. They're just at handles. There's no names there. That's why I'm not reading it out. Mina from Washington, Wisconsin. Upstate New York. Oklahoma. I looked up upstate New York once because I didn't know what that meant. That's a really big area. Alliston, Ontario. Okay, well, let's get going. I got enough people here. Hi, Loretta from New Jersey. Brandy from Ohio. Okay, my name's Lisa. I'm in Vancouver, Canada, by the way. And if you check out my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board. Hi, Jennifer from England. My free behavior board, my boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for older kids. If you want to work with me one-on-one, that's coaching. There's a big wait list, but I'll get to it eventually. Or if you want to listen to our podcast, it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and we save it on YouTube if you want to watch us do it. The podcast, my daughter and I do it together. We work together. Okay, Michelle from Colorado Springs and Liliana from Michigan. My mother's name was Lillian. Lynn Burgess from Australia. That's where my kids were born and raised, in Australia. Alabama. It's from Haley. 2 toddlers, 2 and 4 and 10-year-old. Wow, you're busy. Thanks, Christina. I love your support. I love your support. Thanks for your support. She said, I love your videos. So I said, I love your support, which is true. Thanks so much for that. Anyway, okay, so let's get going with your questions. I'll do my best to answer them. I'm usually on here for about 45 minutes to an hour. Usually I hop from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok, but I'm on YouTube the whole time, which is where I save my lives. Okay, so let's get going. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Vancouver. We had a lot of rain earlier, but it's sunny right now. Morrinsville, New Zealand. We used to ski in Queenstown. I don't know where Morrinsville is. North Carolina, Mary. Southeast Idaho. Hello, Gracie. Tina from Oklahoma. Okay, so I'm here to answer your parenting questions. I'll do my best. Wow, Warrensburg, Montana, 17, 11, 6 and 4. Wow, you're busy. I think one of the largest families I had, I'll get like maybe 7, 8, not that uncommon, but sometimes I'll get 12 or more kids in a family I'm working with. So that's a lot. There's a lot of systems that we set up. And you know what's interesting is the bigger the family, the less problems they have with sharing. Because kids just know they can't have anything to themselves. If there's 10, 12 kids in a family, they grow up understanding that nothing is theirs, it's everybody's. So it's interesting, isn't it? Okay, this is on YouTube. I don't know your name. I think you've told me your name before, but it's just a handle kind of thing. Okay, I have a 3-year-old who runs away from me with things in his hand or when I ask him to come over to me. I don't want to yell in those situations, but I don't want to run after him either. Any tips? If it's something dangerous, I would run after him. And then when I do get that out of his hands, then I would say, okay, here's your consequence. Start with the behavior board. And you can say something like this: no running away when I call your name. That can be his rule. You can never put attitude on there, but you can put actions on there. So you put down on the behavior board, it's completely free on my website, no running away when I call your name. Or whatever. But you never put down something like listen to me. Like that's too big of it. It's too broad. But if he has a real habit of running away whenever you call his name, then I would put that down. Okay. This is also on YouTube. How to help a 4-year-old girl who gets very anxious in all new situations. It's just exposure, I would assume. I don't know if she has anxiety issues. I don't know. But generally, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I would just keep putting her into new things and just, you're right there for support. Just stay calm. Don't talk a lot about it. This is what parents make the mistake. Where you put your energy and where you put your focus is what grows. If you're talking about her anxiety and her stress or whatever going somewhere new, she's going to get more stressed out. So I just say, you'll be all right. No, you're okay. I'm right here. You're all right. And then I just start chatting to someone else like it's no big deal. If you make a big deal out of it, it becomes a big deal. Okay, I'm on Facebook here. Am I? Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Okay, how do I handle 9-year-old boy who hates and refuses to go to school? Well, he has to go to school. So what do you mean he refuses to go? You can't get him to go? That's kind of tricky. That would almost be coaching. I don't know what's going on there. That's kind of next level stuff. If you've got a 9-year-old who will not go to school, I'd find out what's going on. I'd ask the teacher, say, is there anything happened at school? Or are you a pleaser parent? You just try and make everything easy for him so he doesn't want to do anything difficult. That's dangerous. So maybe that's it. He just doesn't want to do any work. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. But if you're really having, and that can't be your only problem with him. So I'd suggest maybe look at the boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds. That might be a go-to because he's 9. You want to kind of get this solved now before he's a teenager, right? 2-year-old bangs his head on the floor during tantrums. No, you don't ignore that. You still ignore the tantrum. You don't look at him or talk to him, but you physically restrain them from hurting themselves, hurting someone else, or damaging property. So you're just holding him and just for a minute or so, then let go. If he goes to bang his head again, grab him again. Don't talk about it though. Remember, that is attention. Any attention is feeding a tantrum. As soon as you start giving attention to them, which is looking at them and talking to them, that's the attention they want. So if you do that, then it's game over. They're in charge and they'll keep doing it. I have tons and tons of videos on everything really. And also podcasts. If you want me to go more in depth, that's the podcast. So that's BratBusters Parenting Podcast. We've done so many now. I think we've got over 100 out there now because we just started a year ago and we do 2 a week now. So I think we have a whole podcast on tantrums. You can look it up. So if you want to listen to how you deal with tantrums, I always say you ignore the tantrum, but you're still there. Okay, you are ignoring that tantrum. A tantrum is not bad behavior. A tantrum is not full of emotions and feelings either. It is. It's anger. It's frustration. They're mad that they didn't get their own way. You don't need to give that any attention. Okay, so you do ignore tantrums, but there's a very specific way of doing it. Okay, love your blunt honesty, Jess. I've said it's a me problem plenty of times since finding you. Yeah, of course it is. Isn't that good news though? Then you can control it. You can't control anybody else. You can only control yourself. Kids follow a leader. Everyone's trying to fix their kids as if they're broken. No, you need to fix yourself. You lead, they will follow. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I don't know why. I don't know how we came so far away from that. Parents not taking responsibility for their kids' behavior, calling them ODD, oppositional defiant disorder. That was just a term invented to make moms not feel bad about their kids' behavior. In other words, absolving them of any responsibility. I just think it's ludicrous. Doctors told me that. It's not a medical diagnosis. They just did that to appease the mom. It's not your fault. He's just got ODD. Oh, phew, nothing. I can't do anything then. It's not my fault. You always want to take the blame, the responsibility for your kids' behavior. Even if everything isn't your fault or you're to blame, you still do it. That's what a leader does. You take full responsibility for your kids' behavior. And then you can fix it, right? But you got to fix yourself. You lead, they will follow. Children need, crave, and want a leader. It's a natural instinct. Okay, they're children. They need a leader. If you're not a leader, they're going to go out in the world. They're going to be very susceptible to other people. They're going to be very susceptible to bullying, drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. You're going to send them out there not armed with a leader, and that's a big mistake. You want them to have someone they can go home to and tell everything to. You want to be that safe place to land. Can you explain more about the behavior board? Yeah, it's actually really simple. It's just rules and consequences for every member in the family, 3 years old and above. Parents are on there too. So your rule might be no yelling. You can't put that for the kids though. It's more in the attitude department. You can never put attitude for kids. Their bad attitude is your fault. So don't blame them for that, okay? They're never rude to a leader. They just aren't. It would be embarrassing for them. So, and it starts at the age of 3 and everyone has a rule. And then below that, everyone has a consequence. Now the parents have one consequence because you know you're going to follow through with it. So if you yell, you have to play with them for 10 minutes, hide and seek, or something you don't usually do for 10 minutes or whatever. It depends on the age, right? You're not going to play hide and seek with a 16-year-old generally. But all the kids have two consequences. So you're giving them two choices, and then the third strike, they're out. This is what I mean by that. They've got a choice whether to break the rule or not. That's their first choice. Their second choice is the first consequence, which is a positive action. It's usually just do a good deed, like a chore. Do like sweep the floor within 15 minutes of being asked to do so, something like that. It's just a good deed. Then that's their second choice. They chose to break the rule. Then they chose to either do that first consequence or not. Then if they choose not to, then you come in and you take control and you say, okay, so then you impose the second consequence, which is the negative deprivation. It's usually something like this: 24 hours of no screens. So you control that. They've got two chances here to make a good choice. They can choose not to break the rule. If they do, then they can choose to do the first consequence, which is an easy one. Then if they choose not, they break the rule, then they choose not to do the first consequence, then you come in. You always want to empower your kids to make their own choices. You want kids to feel that they're in control of their own lives. You want them to feel autonomy. That's where the pride comes in. If you don't want obedient soldiers who are just doing what you tell them, that's ridiculous. You want kids who have self-esteem, self-discipline, self-control. That's what we're building here. That's what leadership does. That's the behavior board. You do one different rule per week. It's completely free on my website. It's a whole course on it. It's completely free, the behavior board. And it's BratBusters.com. It's at the very top, the black section. And then there's a get access button, I think. Anyway, so yeah, you just write it out on a big bulletin board or a big, like you're going to have 3 of them. You do one per week, one different rule per week for everybody. The consequences can stay the same, but you need 1 rule per week. Okay, your rule can stay the same, but the kids, no. You want 3 different rules in 3 weeks. So they have 3 behavior boards by the end of 3 weeks. Then what you do after that, that's the boot camp course if you want to get that. But lots of people have a lot of success just with the behavior boards. Don't go past 3. 3 is enough. Then you want to go off the boards, and then you already know how to. They know right from wrong by the age of 3. And if they break a rule, then you just say, okay, here's a consequence. You don't have it on a board anymore. You're addressing everything. That's the course, the boot camp course for 3-year-olds and above. Week 4 is when you deal with everything. You go off the boards. You can still keep the boards going if you want. Lots of parents use them for years. They might not have a board up for a whole year, and then they decide, wait a minute, school morning routine needs to be fixed up here. So they'll put down follow school morning routine, and they'll use a board for that. It's a good visual cue that things are changing, and it's a good visual reminder that things are changing. Also, make sure you mess up. Put something down that you mess up on a regular basis. So you show the kids, there's no shame in making a mistake. There's only shame in not being accountable for your mistakes, okay? We all make mistakes. If you don't show that your kids, that you make mistakes, then that's ridiculous. So you're perfect and they're not? It doesn't make any sense. Also, never use a reward chart at home. A reward chart for good behavior is a total disaster at home. It works beautifully in classrooms because it's not personal. 30 kids are on it, okay? It's just different. Teaching is very different. A large portion of my clients are teachers, principals, and child psychologists. I couldn't do their jobs. I'm not qualified for any of that, but parenting's different. That's what I know parenting. It's one-on-one, it's personal. A reward chart at home for good behavior, this is what you're saying to your kids. You're normally rotten. If you should happen to be good, you'll get a reward. Could you imagine if your spouse said that to you? Here's a reward chart. If you have a good day, I'll buy you some flowers, or could you imagine? It's very patronizing and very insulting. It's sending the wrong message. A behavior board sends the message, you're normally great. If you should happen to make a bad choice, I know what to do. You see the difference? It's along the same lines of if you're going out and you say to your kids, be on your best behavior. What a patronizing, nasty thing to say to a kid. What a nasty thing to say. Could you imagine if your spouse said that to you? We're going out for dinner with our friends tonight. Be on your best behavior. You see? It's funny that we'll say those things to kids, but yeah, I just never would because it's nasty. How would you feel if your spouse said that to you? Be on your best behavior tonight. Ooh, them's fighting words. It's just basic psychology. The thing is that kids can't articulate why it bothers them. I'm here to tell you why it just doesn't feel right for them. A reward chart is an insult. It makes them feel bad. Okay. This is a very good question. I don't talk about this a lot lately. Things cycle and it just hasn't come up a lot. This is Ashley says, in one of your videos, you said your kids got an allowance, but not for chores. So what is it for? Or is it just to get this much money each week? Yeah, it was for nothing. They had chores though. I would never pay for chores. You live here, you contribute, you clean up after yourself. There's no way I would pay for that. But they deserve to learn how to manage and save money. And I also taught them a lot about practicality. And here's how I did it. I'll show you just a sec. I really wish I'd kept the journals. I had, they were called treble cash journals. And what I did was it was just like a book. It was bigger than this. It was a big red book. It was in Australia. They don't have them here. When I moved to Canada, they don't have them here. Anyway, I raised my kids in Australia. Anyway, so it had like date, just like 5 different columns actually, but treble cash. So it had date, description, then debit, credit, balance. That's the treble cash. So what I would do is every Saturday morning, I'd say, okay, it's allowance time. I called it Mom's Bank. Mom's banking time. So they'd come running and I'd say, okay, now they never got any cash. If they did, someone gave them birthday money or something, they gave it to me and I wrote it down in this book. All their money was just written down in this Mom's Bank. So what this did is it taught them to think about money. They never had cash just to spend. So anyway, so it taught them all about thinking about money. And we discussed, like, let's say they saved up to, and they'd save thousands of dollars over the years because all their gift money went in there, everything went in there. And if they sold something like an old PlayStation game, that would go in there. So yeah, everything went in there. Now I paid 10% interest on every $100. And so when they got to 1,000, they got $100, which bumped them up to 1,100. Then they got another $10 on top of that. I started paying $10 10% on each 100 again after every 1,000 that they reached. So, and I never paid interest on the same amount twice. So if they did spend some money, they had to save that much more. I think I gave them their age every week, but I can't remember. It might have been half their age. But anyway, now here's the thing. The conversations that we had every time we did Mom's Bank, right through the teen years, we did this till they were 15. I made them go out and get a part-time job. I cashed them out in a bank. They both had thousands of dollars. I never saved that money. I just wrote it down. So I was out lots and lots of money. So got to be a good saver. Luckily I am. Anyway, and then they were on their own with money because I'm not going to pay interest on their part-time job, right? But I'd already taught them all the skills and how to manage money, right? So anyway, but every time something would come up, like let's say our fridge broke, and I would say, okay, so that cost $1,200. So this is how, and that's $1,200. They started to connect the dots. They started to understand money, right? So it just brought up, and then also they couldn't spend whenever they wanted to. They could only spend money with my permission. The only time I handed over cash to them was when they were old enough to go out on their own with friends, and their friends and them wanted to go to the store or something. But that was when they were about 12. So they didn't actually get any cash. But if they did want something, if it was something really big, I'd say, well, no, that's not what this is for. You don't just go out and buy big stuff. Wait till your birthday or Christmas and you'll get it as a gift usually. But then every so often they would want to buy something that was $20 or $30. I'd say, okay, so then we sit down and discuss it. And I'd say, okay, so if we get that, then you're going to have, then that money's going to go down. It's going to take you this many more weeks to get more, to get back where you were. And then, so we discussed it all. Anyways, it's another leadership skill. A lot of my clients do it. Some of them don't like doing it, which is usually they do. But every so often I'll get a client who says, no, we don't want to give them money for nothing. We'd rather pay for chores. And that's fine. But there's no freaking way I was going to pay my kids to make their own bed. That was the attitude I had. Also, I never used it as punishment. The only time I ever did was when we first moved to Canada. I told my kids, look at in Australia, the toilets could suck down a mattress. They were like really, really like violent. So I said, when we moved to Canada, North America, the toilets are like really wimpy. They bloop, 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 bloop. I said, you can barely put anything in there and they clog up. Sure enough, my son clogged the toilet. So I made him pay for the plunger. We had to get like a snake and everything. So yeah, I made him pay for that. That was the only time I ever took money out of their allowance because I'd already told them, flush several times rather than keep, building it up. But anyway, that was kind of funny. But yeah, I never used it as punishment. That was their money. Okay, does that make sense? It's up to you whether or not you do that. But the conversations that we had around that was quite interesting. A lot of stuff would come up. And not even necessarily around money. We talk about rent and when you get out on your own and how you pay for groceries and, saving money. And money, you shouldn't be afraid to spend money, but you should do it wisely. I didn't want to make them afraid of money, but I wanted them to just think before they spend. That's all. Just give it some thought before you spend. And also, I didn't spoil my kids. I was very adamant about that. We spoiled them with experiences. Like we spent a lot of money on traveling and experiences, but we never bought them stuff. I was very adamant about that. Anyway, okay, I'm going to move over to Instagram now. If you want to join me over there, I'm on Facebook no, I'm not. I'm on YouTube the whole time I'm doing a live. And I've got to get through it quickly because I got a lot of work to do tonight. If you sent me emails, I just saw, I had another page of emails I didn't even notice, so I'm backed up. Anyway, I'll get to it. Tonight I'm going to be answering my emails. Anyway, like if you're a client and also if clients are on here, I'll never say hello to you because I don't want to acknowledge you as a client. So, because sometimes clients say, I said hi to you during the live and you didn't say hi back. And I said, well, that's why. So anyway, what else are we going to say? Yeah. Oh, check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board. You can look at my boot camp courses if you want to buy one of those. I have one for toddlers, one for older kids. If you want to hire me for coaching, that's one-on-one. Big wait list for that, but I will get to it eventually. And then you can listen to our podcast. That's all free. And it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms. And what else? Oh, yeah. You can watch it on YouTube if you want to watch my daughter and I. We do it together. She works with me. She does all the marketing, all the planning. Her grade 3 teacher said, we're all going to be working for her one day. Funny part is she's kind of in charge of the companies. I'm kind of working for her. Anyway, that struck me as funny. Anyway, okay. So thanks so much for watching. I'm hopping over to Instagram now if you want to join me over there. And I'm on YouTube if you want to join me there. Happy parenting. There is a lot of buttons to push to go from one platform to another. And they keep changing how they do it. Come on. There we go. Okay. I got a mug warmer for my birthday. And I finished my cups of tea now. They always used to go cold. Yeah, I turned 65 last week. Whew. Whew. Wow. I remember that seemed so old, like years and years ago. I remember thinking, boy, if I reach 50, I'll be lucky. Like I remember thinking, I don't think it's thought that way anymore. 50 is, or 80 is the new 50 and all that stuff. But yeah, I remember thinking 50 was really old and I'm 65. I think I'm old. Yeah. But it's not a negative. Okay. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks so much for happy birthday. Yeah. 65. It's a big number. What's I going to say? No, nothing. Anyway, okay. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm just going to introduce myself quickly. If you're new here, my name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board. You can look into my boot camp courses if you want to buy one of those. There's one for toddlers, one for older kids. I know the teen one should be coming soon, but my daughter told me we're not going to do it right now. She's in charge of all this. So she's going to tell me what to do. So she said, we're not quite ready. We're going to do something else with one of the other courses first. So anyway, that's, I just answered to her. So what else? Oh yeah, coaching. If you want to work with me one-on-one, that's coaching. And there's a big wait list for that, unfortunately, but I'll get to it eventually if you want to work with me. And what else? Oh, I used to say I'll take crisis clients first. But then everyone started writing me and saying they were a crisis client. I thought that was funny. So yeah, it's not first come, first serve because I do mix up the ages. Okay. So I'm not going to take all 2-year-old parents. Or you're not 2, but your kids are. You know what I'm saying? I like to mix up some ages. Other than that, it's just first come, first serve. Anyway, and also if you want to listen to our podcast, it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and we film it and we put it on YouTube if you want to watch it there. So okay. You said, Karen, my 3-year-old is not potty trained yet. Should I really push him? I do have a whole system. It's called the Potty Party. It's on both courses, the boot camp courses, if you want to check it out. I do recommend potty training at about 2.5. Some kids are trained younger. They're more likely to regress if you train them under 2. So they'll have accidents more likely. They might just regress. They might say, I don't want this anymore. But they might not. There's no perfect age for potty training. But 2.5, they're pretty much all ready to be potty trained. Here's the thing. If you're already a leader, it usually goes pretty quickly. If you're not a leader, it's a good way to get some leadership skills, but it might fail initially. You might have to stop it for a month and restart because they don't respect you. If they respect you, it goes a lot easier, like with everything. But it's a good way to start getting respect. And it's all done through fun. It's all incentive-based and fun. It's a potty party. I trained my son in 1 day, no pull-ups, no night diapers, nothing. My daughter in 2 days, she had an accident on day 2. That was my fault. And but yeah, I trained no pull-ups, no night diapers, nothing. So it can work really well, but I was already a leader. But like I said, it's a good way to get some leadership skills because I lead with fun. Love your content and perspective. Thanks. Discipline's okay, but I really didn't do it with my kids. I mean, I got respect when they were little and didn't really have to discipline. They were self-disciplined. They just made good choices because if they didn't, they knew I'd be right there in a shot. And also I was the one in trouble more than they were, because I'm very accountable. If I mess up, I eat crow real fast. I have no pride or dignity if I make a mistake. I'm not a right fighter and at all. So if I make a mistake, they go, oh, Mom, didn't you say you were going to do that and you forgot? Yeah, what do you want? So I'd have to make it up to them. You want to be accountable. Okay. They're going to do what you do. They're not going to do what you say. Why should they? If you're not accountable, why should they be? You're setting a bad example if you just expect them to be obedient soldiers. You're just a dictator. You're just the old-fashioned authority. It's okay. It's better than the newfangled pleaser parent for sure, but it's not the way I would want to parent. And I lead with fun. Fun is their love language. And once you're a leader, you can just relax and have fun with them because you don't even have to discipline anymore. But you got to work for that. You got to earn that. Okay? Don't just expect it. Okay, so I'm just scrolling ahead so I make sure you're here when I answer your question. Okay, I don't do lives as often as I used to. I just don't have the time anymore. But I used to do them pretty much every day for a couple of years there. And then I got away from them for a while. We've just been so busy. But, my roots are in this live, and it's how I feel like connected with the bigger audience. Most people aren't going to hire me for coaching. That's where the real connection. I get a real relationship going with my clients. And but most people aren't going to hire me. So that's why these lives are so important, because that's how I feel connected to my audience. And I'm really going to try and do more of them because I love doing lives. My favorite thing in my business is coaching by far. And then probably my second favorite is lives. And then the podcast, because it's the only time my daughter and I work together. We both work separately in the business, and I don't know what she does, and she knows what I do, but I really don't know what she does. She does all the marketing and planning. She's a workaholic. But yeah, I love coaching, but I love doing these lives. Well, you got a 16-month-old throwing tantrums? Look at all my videos on how you handle tantrums. Yeah. Now, there's 4 things that they're born to do or they're never going to do. One, like it's just in their DNA. One of them is tantrums. One of them is aggression, like hitting, kicking, whatever. Another one is running away from you. And another one is climbing. Those are 4 things that they're born. It's just in them. They're going to try it. But it's your job to train them out of that stuff. Okay. So it's not your fault they do that, but you want to train them out of it. It takes time though. Toddlers don't learn overnight. I'm going to read my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. And a toddler to me is 16 to 35 months. It's just the way I've broken it down. Okay, number 1, childproof your home so you never have to say no. That's a broad statement. You'll still probably have to say no sometimes, but generally. Set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3, connect with your toddlers in their world, not your world. You don't take them to the nail salon. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. They look at you differently. They just do when you're good at entering their world. That's what I do. I always enter their world, and they just look at you differently. Number 4, discipline toddlers in their world also. They're not about words. They're about actions. You need consistent corrective actions. If they do something naughty, you use one word just to say that I'm coming in, something's going to happen. You just say no, and then you take them away from the fun or fun away from them temporarily. Okay, it's a broad statement, but you kind of have to deal with, like if they're at the park, you just pull them off the swing for maybe a minute or so. And if they're kicking and screaming and you say, okay, you're going to sit with me for 1 minute, then they're still kicking and screaming. You got 2 choices here. You can wait till they calm down, but they may never calm down. But you said you can go back in 1 minute. They're toddlers. They can't really tell time. I probably would still try and put them back even though they're kicking and screaming, but I probably wouldn't talk to them. So it's kind of a gray area in there. You have to sort of use your judgment. Okay, and stop with the mini therapy sessions discussing all their big feelings and big emotions when they're mad. There's no point in doing that. That's garbage. It's absolute crap. I know that it's really trending out there right now. You get down their level and you say, use your words. What a patronizing, ignorant thing to say to a 2-year-old. They are using their words. Kicking and screaming and yelling is their words. What you're saying to them is, you're not good enough in the way you communicate. Rise up to my adult level. That's what you're saying. It's very patronizing, and I just hate it. But anyway, I know it's trendy right now to do all that stuff, but it's garbage. Number 5, stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're cute as a button, but they're all feet, no brains. Okay, they've got one marble and some tumbleweed up there. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years. In the first year, you were a potato laying on a mattress. They're just forming. They're going to do dumb things. They might go like this and smear poop on the wall. I mean, try and figure that out. Okay. My granddaughter did something the other day. It was so different from what I would have thought she would have done, but it's just in her, she doesn't know, like they just don't have any concept of the world yet, but she did something and I thought, well, that was an interesting choice. It wasn't naughty. It was just something. And I thought, well, that's a toddler. How would they know this is how you do it? It was just something, it was funny. I love trying to figure them out, but you never can because they're just fresh, right? They don't have perspective on the world. Have you worked with kids who have drug exposure during pregnancy along with added trauma? Oh yeah, tons of that, tons of crisis work. Yep. I call those NAS babies, narcotic addiction syndrome babies, if they're born, if they are introduced to drugs or alcohol in the womb and they come out jittery and, you know, they have to have blinds over their eyes. Yeah, I've worked with them. Yeah. The thing that I found throughout the years that they have problems with if they're born addicted is, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not qualified to talk about this. I only worked with them like in volunteer. I was just a volunteer, like mothering all these kids. So I would just sit with them or, you know, the stuff like that. So, but yeah, they have problems with impulse control, and especially in the teen years. If you haven't really taught them how to manage that throughout their lives, when they hit the teen years, they really tend to struggle with lack of impulse control if they were born addicted. I know it's got different names, but we used to call it narcotic addiction syndrome, NAS babies. Very sad. But yeah, lots of trauma. I've dealt with all sorts of kids who've been abused, and that's all coaching. I don't even want to comment on this. It's I am Tedro. I keep seeing this pop up. I don't know anything about it, so I'm not going to comment on it. How long of a wait is there to schedule with you? You know what happens is people who've been on the list for a few months, they get tired of waiting, so they end up buying the course, and sometimes that's enough. So it works. I can often get through. I don't want to tell you there's more than 100. I'll just say that on the wait list. But a lot of those people don't end up hiring me. So because they've been on there too long, or they might have hired someone else. But often what they do is they'll hire someone else and they'll come back to me anyway. So, but anyway, yeah, it might be fast because of that. And yeah, I just increased my prices again, trying to slow down the list. That's evidently what you do, but it hasn't slowed it down at all. So, but the people who were on there before I increased the price will get the old price. But anyway. It's frustrating. I feel really bad because I know people end up emailing me. How long? I don't know. I would assume a month or two, maybe a bit more, maybe. But like I said, a lot of people give up and sort of bail, which I understand because if they're going through crisis, they need help, right? 2-year-old girl and rarely any tantrums is something off. I've never had a tantrum. My daughter's never had a tantrum. My son had tantrums. He outgrew them because I dealt with them. But yeah, they're either born to have them or they're not. Yeah, my mother said you reasoned everything out, and so did my daughter. I remember being really little, and I saw a kid having a tantrum, and I remember, and my mom remembers this too. I don't know if it was the same memory that I had, but she goes, whenever you'd see a kid having a tantrum, you looked at them like they were nuts. Like I couldn't figure it out. I thought, what are you doing? It's so crazy. Like I just couldn't fathom it. So my daughter was like that too. Whereas my son would just have them. He's like, yeah, this is fun. Let's go for it. He didn't have a lot, but he had them. Something you're born to have or you're not. It's just in you. It's a temperament. It means that you have a shorter fuse usually. Yeah, because I don't tend to have a tantrum, like a temper, even as an adult. I talk everything through. A lot of people complain about having a strong-willed child. That's actually a positive. When you're a leader, it's never a problem. Having a strong-willed child, they often turn into the leaders of tomorrow. So it's not a bad trait. It just means you don't know how to deal with it. Okay? They're strong-willed. It doesn't mean they're bad-willed, right? They just have a lot of strength. They want to feel heard. They want to feel respected. And that's what a leader does. They feel heard and they feel respected. So I happen to like strong-willed kids. Like those are all the kids I worked with, right? The more challenging ones. They would fight usually, but then when they come up against a leader, they don't. How you dealt with toddlers with all four tendencies, climbing, hitting, tantrum. Well, it's all the same stuff. It's just calm leadership. All kids lean into that. They do take more time generally, yes, because they've got things that you want to train them out of, right? So it does take a bit more time. But yeah, it's just all the same stuff. My methods are the same with all kids unless they have some special needs. Okay, then we have to change things up. Or if they have trauma, which is a special need, I put that in that category. If they've been abused in any way, or they have real big trauma in their life, then that would be something that would be a little bit, maybe some exceptional stuff I would pull out, right? But generally, it's all the same stuff. It's just leadership. Remember, it's never about them. You set yourself up as a leader. I'm the same wherever I go, whatever kids I'm working with. I got respect with all of them. Some took longer than others, especially the troubled teenagers, but I managed to get respect with all of them. I'm a calm leader, but I'm also crazy fun, okay? I lead with fun. I lead with positivity and humor. And my goal is always that they like themselves when they're with me. When they feel good, they do good. When they feel bad, they do bad. When someone makes you feel good about yourself, how do you treat that person? That's sort of my mantra, is if I know how to make them like themselves and they feel good, they're going to treat me really well, right? That's what I do. That's all I do. The discipline is a tiny part of all this. Yeah, everyone wants to know how to fix their kids. It has very little to do with them. And you know what I say when, oh, good question. I'm going to answer this. I'm going to hang on to this. I forgot what I was going to say. I just want to read this. Good question. I want to address this. How do you connect with children when you don't naturally have it in you? Okay. I've worked with so many clients who said, I just don't like playing with kids. Totally get it. It's not your world. There's always a way. You find what you like and then not dumb it down, but child it down. Like, let's say you like music. Okay. I had one client who loved reading and loved stories. Well, then she started telling stories and making up her stories with her kids involved in it. So there was always a character with her kid's name. There was another one. Music was a big one. They loved playing music and they just wanted to be left alone. They didn't want to talk to the kids. Like, they just wanted to be left alone to do their own music. But then I said, look up stuff and then you can instruments with kids and how you can incorporate them. So I always say you enter their world to connect with them. You still do, but you want to do it with something that you enjoy. If you're really athletic, get, some sort of a running thing or whatever you can do with the kids. Like this, I used to do grouse grind a lot. Like every second day I was obsessed. I quit about 2 years ago. I'll get back into it. Anyway, it's a huge, huge mountain to climb. It's very intense. They call it Nature's Stairmaster. So it takes about an hour if you're really fit, maybe 2 or 3 hours if you're not. And it's like straight up, and then you take the gondola back down. I have seen fathers, especially on there, with 2 kids, a toddler on their back and a little wee one on their front, and they're going up there. And they're singing to the kids while they're doing it. They're singing going up. So you can incorporate them in your world too. So if it doesn't come naturally to you, think about what you enjoy and how you can pull the kids into that. I started your course 3 weeks ago, 3-year-old. Hitting wasn't a big issue, but we started there. We haven't followed through nearly 100%, and the hitting frequency is increasing. We have followed through nearly, okay, there's other stuff going on. I don't know what else is going on. Hitting wasn't a big issue, but we started there. We have followed through. Okay, if you still look angry, if you look angry, frustrated, or disappointed, it's not going to work. It just doesn't. You've got to watch your facial expressions, your tone of voice, and your body language. You got to look calm whenever you're disciplining. So yeah, hitting, they often do get worse before they get better because they're challenging you. They're like, yeah, you think you've got this? Wait till you see what I got up my sleeve. So yeah, they usually do get worse, by the way, especially if they're hitters. So yeah, just keep being consistent. Make sure that you follow through on the behavior board. Make sure you're on there and that your consequence benefits them. So when you do something bad, like yell, your consequence is playing hide and seek with them. Okay. And never say something like this. Why would you hit? You know, you shouldn't hit. That's the bullying, the berating, the blaming, and the shaming. Don't do any of that. It's always like a business transaction. Okay, you hit, let's go to the board. Here's your consequence. Okay. If they hit throughout the day a lot, just say, I'll tell you what, we'll discuss this later. So you address each hit and you say, we'll talk about it later. But then after dinner, or you say after dinner, you say, by the way, today wasn't a good day. You hit a lot today. So we're going to go straight to the big consequence. Okay. So you can do it that way. So you're bundling up the whole day and then just doing the big consequence. It's hard. Yeah, there's usually something else going on. It's usually the parents' anger is what gets in the way. Your anger, frustration, disappointment. If you show that, kind of tanks the whole thing. because it makes them feel bad. When you look angry or disappointed or frustrated at your kids, it makes them feel bad. When they feel bad, they do bad. When they feel good, they do good. You may think you're following through, but I'm guessing that's usually what tanks it when I'm working with people. Can you post this so we can replay the live later? It is on YouTube. That's where I save all of my lives. And I'm just trying to see if I can figure out the time. No, but it'll be on today's day. Oh, I'm at 40 minutes right now on YouTube. So if you want to rewatch that, it's 40 minutes. If you want to rewatch what I just said. Oh, and I don't let anyone in on my lives ever. I only did it once a couple of years ago. I won't go into it. It's a disaster. And I'm here to part my wisdom, if you will. So if other people come in, it's often, like I try and keep it quick and move on quickly. It often takes up too much time. So anyway, okay. Fatma says, are there any books you can recommend parenting? I've never read a book on kids or parenting, so I don't know. I only teach what I know through my own personal experience with kids, and I haven't written a book. So I wouldn't have a clue. Plus, no one's teaching when I invented all this stuff. Kids taught me all this. Teenagers taught me all this. So I only teach what I know. So, okay. I feel like you're part of the family sometimes, as I've helped me such a better parent. Oh, thanks, Tabitha. I want to send you fall photos and presents on special occasions. Thanks again for everything. You don't have to send me anything. Thank you, though. That's so sweet. Very sweet, Tabitha. Okay. I get very close to some of my coaching clients, like that I work with over a long period of time. And it's usually just the support that they want, right? And but yeah, I get very attached to them because it is a business, but I feel like I'm mothering them all. So I go into a whole other zone when I'm coaching. It's that's my mother. My identity as a mother is my strongest and my most fulfilling role in my whole life is mothering. I love it. I was meant to do it. It was the most fun time I ever had in my whole life. And so when I'm talking to a client, it brings out the best in me. Like I just love it. It's funny because I always think I'm really mean and tough in coaching because I just say what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And oftentimes I'll say, I'm sorry, I'm so nasty, I'm really tough. And they go, no, you're not. They know that I want to help them. But yeah, I have no filter. I just got to say it like it is. Tell me more about the positivity and humor. I can't grasp that strength easily. Okay, it's a skill that you can learn. My mother used to say happiness is a choice, not a circumstance. She was a joy-seeking missile. I have a blurb on her on my website. She was my idol. She was my leader. She was my best friend. She died in my arms at 93 years old, about 9 years ago now. And she was such an inspiration. So she was funny. She was positive, never complained, never brought anyone down. She just was a joy to be around. Everyone loved my mom. She was just fun, witty, and it's just fun. And she taught me a lot about that. And I don't think I was born with that. Like she was kind of born with that. It just came in. She always worked at it. Like she said, I work on being happy every single day. And, but it was really weird. As I got older, it really started to sink in, and I just get it now. It's a choice. It's not about your circumstances. It's not about what's happened in life. Sometimes really horrible stuff does happen. That's true. But she always picked herself back up. So, and there was a lot of humor in our family. I don't know, humor and positivity. Everyone's sort of drawn to feeling good. My mom, when my dad died, my mom and I cried for the first 5 minutes. And then she said, and then she went like this, and she went, weren't we lucky to have him all those years? He just died. I mean, come on. That was my mom. She had all her friends over. Everyone who was close to her came over that night, and they all sat around, and they were laughing all night long. And the next day, and then of course I heard her crying in bed later on. But then the next day I said, Mom, I was 14 when he died. And I said, Mom, why, how could you laugh that much? And she goes, sweetie, she goes, no one wants to be brought down in life. They just want to have fun and they want to enjoy. And she goes, and it brings me up too. And she said, I got lots of time to cry on my own when I go to bed at night. So, but she just never brought anyone down. So that's why everyone was drawn to her. She was like a magnet. And, but that's why. And children are very drawn to positivity. They like upbeat, they like cheery, and they like fun. And so do I. I'm very goofy. I like to laugh. And I'm always laughing at dumb things. So it came easily to me because I was, raised with a lot of humor. But if you weren't, you can still learn that, positivity. Why waste your time being negative? You know, I mean, we all have those moments too, but it's a waste of time. And you don't want to do that to your kids. You know, they saw me cry. They saw sad times too. But overall, it was pretty darn cheery. So makes them feel good. Okay, can I get your thoughts on co-sleeping? Nope, I have none. It's personal preference. It's like homeschooling, co-sleeping, breastfeeding till they're 5, personal choice. Religion, personal choice. I have no opinions on any of that. Not in a professional way. I have my own personal views on it, but I'm not going to share that. So like what I would do, but that's not relevant to you. Just personal choice. Like in other words, it's not good or bad. Like it's just, just personal choice. How old are your children now? They're having birthdays in the next couple of weeks, and they'll be 36 and 31. And my granddaughter is 21 months old. So, and that's my son's little girl. And my daughter works with me full time. She's 31. So, I mean, raising them was the most fun I ever had. And then I went through a real dip, sort of, because I love mothering so much. And then the business helps a lot. But now I got a granddaughter, and I have her 1 day a week because the parents work. And so I have her 1 day a week. It's all I can spare. I would do more if I was retired. And anyway, but now I get to, it's grandmothering, but it's still caring for a little one. And you get a very different relationship with a child. Like if I was a grandparent who just saw her and took her to the park, that'd be lovely. It'd be wonderful, but it's not me. I want to change the diaper. I want to deal with, I like the caregiving aspect of it too, because I feel there's just a whole different bond when you caregive. Like I never would have wanted nannies with my kids or anything. I wanted to do all that myself. So yeah, I love the caregiving aspect of it. It's just a whole different level. So, but yeah. So as much as I miss mothering, now I'm a grandmother, and she's not my child. I'm very clear on that. She is not my child. I am not her leader. I am her grandma. And she's got wonderful parents. So I'm very lucky. Okay. How do you know you're doing a good job as a parent? You just know. You got a great relationship with your kids. They're polite. They like you. That you like them. You have fun with them. You'll know. You'll know. And also, you want them to tell you anything. If your kids don't come to you with stuff and they're keeping secrets, you got a lot of work to do. You want them to be able to, you want to be a safe place for them to land. That's really important because that'll take you right through the teen years. So I'm scrolling ahead to make sure you're still here. Okay, you've got down, this is on YouTube. What steps should I take to keep my 4-year-old from biting my 5-year-old? She stopped for a while, but now the problem's back with a vengeance. Just get the behavior board. It's completely free on my website, BratBusters.com, and put no biting. And I would put no hurting other people. So it's no biting, hitting, kicking, because oftentimes if you just put no biting, they'll start hitting. So look at the sun's going to start coming in here. So yeah, just put down no hurting other people. And that's the rule. You can't put attitude on there, but you can put actions. Okay. The only things that they say that you can put on a behavior board is no swearing or no name calling. But anything attitude, like I hate you, you're whatever, you can't put that on there. It means that they don't respect you. But yeah, you can put down no hitting or no hurting other people. Over there. If not, check out my website, BratBusters.com, and you can get my free behavior board. You can look into my courses. I have 2 boot camp courses, one for toddlers, one for older kids. If you want to work with me one-on-one, that's coaching. There's a huge wait list for that right now, but I will get to it eventually. And then if you want to listen to the podcast, there's no wait list and it doesn't cost any money. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and my daughter and I film it together and we put it on YouTube. Well, she does all that stuff. And if you want to watch us do that. So all of the podcasts are also on YouTube. And I think our YouTube channel is growing more right now. We haven't put a lot into YouTube. We're more into the social media platforms. YouTube isn't social media. It's a search engine. It's Google. Anyway, but yeah, so YouTube's growing. And we think it's because of the podcast. The podcast is doing really well on its own, but we think people like watching it because we're mother and daughter. So we feed off each other really well, and we're best friends and all that too. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm hopping over to TikTok now, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. That's where all my lives are saved. Happy parenting. Okay. There we go. Just got snow tires today, so I'm getting them put on next week. I figured I'd get the snow tires before it snows. We often don't get snow here in Vancouver. We can go a whole year with no snow, but we'll get usually a week or two, and the whole city falls apart when we get snow. We're just useless. I never needed snow tires, but now that I'm daycaring my granddaughter one day a week, and it's a long drive, it's like a 45-minute drive to their place, so I need snow tires. It's the only reason I'm getting them, because I live downtown. I don't need to drive anywhere if it snows, but now I do. So okay, just waiting for everyone to turn up. Just talking about getting my snow tires. It's one of those things. It's like insurance. It's because, like I said, in Vancouver, we often don't get snow. It's like insurance, though. You need it, but you never want to have to use it. Okay, happy to be here. I'm happy to be here too. Became the number 17 fan in the fan club. I have no idea how TikTok works. Also, I live in Canada. We don't get paid for TikTok here. It's my biggest platform. I'd probably be rich if we did, but I mean, it's almost got 1 million followers here just on TikTok. But we don't get paid here in Canada for TikTok. China doesn't like us. I don't know why. I like China. I don't know why they don't like us. But anyway, I've never been there. I'd like to go there one day. Okay. Love your methods. Great. And they're not for everybody. And I always say, you just got to go with what feels right to you. If you're listening to me and you think she's an idiot, well, then don't watch. Just go somewhere else. I think my methods are great. I've been doing them for 50 plus years with kids. I know how to get respect with kids and give it to get it. So I love my methods. That's why I teach them. And kids taught me all this, but they're not for everybody. I don't think they're the only way of parenting out there. I'm not stupid. I mean, it's like religion. You may like your religion, but it's not the only. You can have free will. You can follow whatever suits you. Every so often I'll get a client and I wonder why they hired me, because they want such different things than what I teach. But yeah, every so often that happens. But they're so set in their ways with how they parented. They want me to sort of go into what so yeah. But every so often that happens because they really want the participation awards, and they really want to discuss bad behavior. I hate both those things. So yeah, I have to really work hard to get them away from that stuff. You've helped me and my husband as a third party. Excellent. I've evidently saved a lot of marriages in coaching too, because if your marital problems are around parenting, I can help with that. Can't help if it's something else, but if it's around parenting. Okay. What's your favorite age to parent? Teenagers, by far my favorite age, by far. They're the most interesting. They're so developed, and I love to see what they're becoming, and I was really proud of how my kids were turning out. Yeah. I never thought of, this is Mariah. Your concept of using play as currency works wonders. I never used the word currency. That's a cute way of putting it. Yeah, my way of connecting is always play, and with little kids, and then with teenagers, humor usually. And I'm a really good listener, and they love that. So yeah, you connect. Fun is their love language. Play is their love language. That's how you connect with them. What about a wrong toy tantrum? Our kid flipped out over what we bought a toy. So they didn't like what you bought. I'd probably just take it back to the store, but I wouldn't talk about it. I'd just say, oh, you don't like that? Okay, I'll take it back. And then I'd have to take it back. So, or I'd just put it away for a while, maybe put it in the toy rotation system. 3-year-old angry all the time. Work on yourself, work on your leadership skills. Kids who don't have a leader often feel lost. They're often angry. They often act out. They're often difficult at school. They don't have a leader at home. Your leadership is so much more important than you realize. It's just, imagine if you had someone you could tell everything to, that you trust, that makes you feel good. That's what you're giving your children. You're giving them such a good base. It's wonderful. I remember growing up, I had friends who used to love talking to my mom, and they'd always say, and I was so confused by that. And they'd say, oh, we just love talking to your mom. And I didn't understand when I was young, they didn't tell their mom everything. And I just thought that was weird. Like, I told my mom everything, and my kids told me everything. Like, I remember I didn't understand that concept when I was young. And I remember my friends keep saying, "You're so lucky. Your mom's so great to talk to." And I didn't understand why theirs weren't. Like, I had no, and then as I got older, I realized, right, they just were trying to be the authority or the pleaser. Yeah. Getting snow tires before winter in Vancouver, discussing the need for insurance. Yep. Between platforms, when I'm switching over, when I'm waiting for people to turn up, who knows what I'll talk about. I think once I was talking about a sports bra I bought that was uncomfortable. Changing platforms. And I'm on YouTube the whole time, but I'm on YouTube the whole time I'm doing a live, and then I hop from Facebook, my smallest platform, to Instagram, bigger, and TikTok, my biggest. That's how I do it. Hitting for a 2-year-old. Yeah, just a sec, I got a siren going here. You probably can't hear it, it's just bothering me. Anyway, if they hit, you just say no, and then you remove them from the fun or remove the fun from them. And then you might have to physically restrain them, which means just hold their hand. If they hit, you just hold their hand. You say no, don't look at them or talk to them. You look away. Hold them for 30 seconds, let go. If they go to hit again, grab them again. It's gentle. It's just letting them know you're not going to put up with hitting, okay? And then as soon as they've calmed down, then you say, oh, do you want to read a book? Don't discuss the hitting. Don't discuss all this stuff. All the discussions, all the mini therapy sessions with toddlers is absolute garbage. That's for you, not for them. They're not listening, they're watching. Do you know the first 7 years are when the personality is formed? It can shift and change, but basically your basic personality forms, and basically how you view yourself in the world and your place in the world, the first 7 years. It's all done through observation. They're not listening. It's all done through observation. That's their main language, their main communication for the first 7 years. Yeah, but all these mini therapy sessions discussing all their bad behavior and all that, it's just garbage, absolute garbage. I want them to understand. No, they already know right from wrong. They already understand. You just want to rub it in. You just want to discuss it. It's for you. It's not for them. Do you have tips on building confidence for a 3-year-old? Yeah, show your vulnerability. Show your humor. Show that you enjoy them. Remember, they're watching you. That helps them build their confidence. If they feel enjoyed, builds their confidence. They feel, wow, I really am enjoyable. I'm worthy of being had fun with. My parents like spending time with me. Hey, my parents also, if they make a mistake, they make it up to me. They respect me, right? Also, if I have a problem, I can tell my parents anything, and they're not going to judge me. They're going to listen, then they're going to discuss it, and we might come to a conclusion. They're not going to think like that, but we're not going to come to a conclusion. But yeah, that's sort of, I don't like this, but I wrote it down because people wanted to know. Top 3 leadership qualities. I don't like it. Shoot, I'm sorry, my battery's running low. This is my top 3 leadership qualities. I don't like it because there's so many of them, but I just came up with this. Number 1, you be calm during the storms. When you're disciplining, it's a business transaction. Don't show any emotion. You're just like, oh, okay, you made that choice. Here's your consequence. See, I've even got a little bit of a lilt in my voice. No anger. Number 2, be crazy during the rainbows. When everything's happy, be silly, do arm farts, goof around, chase the kids around with underpants on your head like I used to do. You can be crazy during the rainbows. Now, also number 3, become a great listener. You want your children to feel heard, that you respect them enough to listen to them. Okay? Doesn't mean that you're going to do whatever they want you to do, but it means you become a really good listener. And you listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will tune you out. Become a great listener. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. And even then, don't hand it out easily. Just say, I don't know. What do you think? And then start discussing it with them. They'll tell you everything right through the teen years when you get good at that. I just don't like those. I just think it's too general. I'd like to have 30 leadership quality. But anyway. I might have to stop soon because my phone is running out of battery. So I'll go as long as I can here. Okay, what if they don't care about media blackout? Well, then take something else away. Lots of my clients don't have any screens. So you take something else away. It has to be something that they enjoy and they do every single day. If you don't have anything, a lot of clients said they don't have anything, right? Because they'll just move on to another thing if they don't get that. So then what you do is you invent leverage. What I mean by that is if they broke a rule, then they wouldn't do the first consequence. You say, oh, what a shame. I'll tell you what, because you didn't do that consequence, We were going to surprise you by taking you out for ice cream tonight, but now we're not going to. But Dad's going to take your brother out, but you can't go. Then I'm going to stay home with you. So you were never going to go out for ice cream, but now you're going to do something. Now, if they don't have a brother or sister, then you just say, we were going to go out for ice cream and surprise you with that, but now we're not. So you don't even have to. It's even better if they've got a sibling that gets to go out and get ice cream. So that's what you're taking away. You're taking away that surprise. Then they'll say, if I'm good tomorrow, do I get ice cream? No, I don't owe you that. It was just going to be a one-off surprise. You don't owe them that. A lot of parents give in to that. That's ridiculous. Then they're going to get it anyway. Where's the consequence? It's useless. So yeah, it's inventing leverage. I don't like resorting to that, but it works really well. And that's if you've got nothing else. Daughter is turning 1. Any developmental toys you suggest? No, I don't sell any toys. I don't know any toys. I can't, I'm not here to pawn toys off. Like I don't back any toys. But what I'll tell you what I did with my kids a lot is I used a lot of household items, like a lot of Tupperware and stuff like that. I was very careful with how safe it was, obviously. But I did a lot of stuff that I already had around the house. I wasn't one to get my kids a lot of toys. And also what they did have is I tried to use a lot of imagination. So if they had teddy bears, we'd do a little picnic with the teddy bears. So we'd lay out a blanket and set up all the little teddy bears or whatever. So I was trying to use their imagination. Also, I did a lot of forts. Like I would put a big blanket over the coffee table and they'd go underneath there with a pillow and then they read a book under there. So I know they're only one, but I was always trying to sort of change things around or turn furniture into something else. And also if I wanted a nap, and I did this a lot with my son. I don't know why with him particularly, but anyway, I think he was up more throughout the night. So I was more tired during the day. So anyway, what I would do is I would lay on the living room floor and I would put all his racetrack. He was a baby, but I'd put I don't know what it was, but I'd put something over me. So he would run his little car over me like I was the mountain, right? And then I'd fall asleep. I would wake up instantly if he crawled away because I was sleeping so long as I could feel him playing on me. So I became part of the toy. That's crazy. Okay. Oh, you're very welcome, Amanda. 2-year-old freaks out whenever mom goes to the bathroom or leaves the room. What can I do? Go to the bathroom anyway. I know I daycare my granddaughter one day a week. I have never gone to the bathroom without her when I'm over there. She follows me. She's right in there. And she's 21 months old now. So yeah, she's always right in there with me. Oh, you're very welcome, Daniela. I love what I do. I was talking to someone a while back and they said, because I was telling them how often I work a lot, right? And my daughter does too. There's not a day that goes by that we don't work. So anyway, she's a real workaholic more than I am. But anyway, I was telling them that and they said, oh, that's brutal. Why would you do that? And I said, well, we love what we do. When you love what you do, like my daughter loves marketing. She loves business. She loves planning. She would never want to do this. And I love this. I hate all the marketing, hate all the planning. So there's no overlap in our jobs at all. And, but yeah, when you love what you do, I love this. I loved parenting. It was the most fun I ever had. I found it easy. But I learned how to do all this when I was really young with other kids. And, but I loved it. And I want to share that information. So this is pure joy for me. I don't get paid for these lives. This is all, free. I just love it. When you love what you do, I think it comes across. And but yeah, I feel very lucky I'm doing what I love. And then you're helping people like that's the bonus, right? I'm doing a job I love and I'm helping people. Like, does it get any better? And I'm working with my daughter. I mean, come on, does it get any better than that? So working 7 days a week, just fine by me. It's not 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sometimes it's 12 hours and other days it's 2 hours. So when you work for yourself, it's the way it goes. And also, I want to point this out. A lot of people question me on this and they say, well, it's easy for you because you're obviously a leader. And I'm not. In my personal life, I'm a follower. In my inner circle, people I trust and love and all that. But I'm not a leader by nature. I hate planning stuff. I want someone else to plan everything. Tell me what to wear, what to order, what to eat. I mean, I don't like planning. I'm not a leader at all in my personal life. So why I'm telling you this is you don't have to be a leader by nature, but I'm very maternal. I love kids and I want the best for them. So that's why leadership with children is what's best for them, right? That's why I did all this. I want to have fun with kids. I want to connect with them. I want to laugh with them. I don't want to be disciplining. So I get respect so I don't have to discipline. So I get that leadership going, right? That respect, mutual respect. So that's what I want for you. Anyone can do this. You don't have to be a leader in your by nature. Anyone can learn how to do this. Love your kids enough to be a leader for them. That's what they need, crave, and want. It's someone who makes them feel good. That's what this is all about. Someone who, if they feel good, they do good. If you make them like themselves and they feel good about themselves when they're with you, how are they going to treat you? Really well, right? Okay, I've got to get going. I've been on for an hour now, so I got to get going. If you want to watch these lives back, they're all saved on YouTube. If not, then that's fine. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you can check out my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board. You can get one of my boot camp courses. I have 2 of them. One's for toddlers, one's for older kids. Or you can look into coaching if you want to work with me one-on-one. There's a huge wait list for that right now, but I will get to it eventually. Or you can listen to our podcast, No Wait List and No Money. It's completely free. It's on all the platforms. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast, and they are saved on YouTube if you want to watch us do it, because my daughter and I work together. We're pretty careful. We don't go off on tangents very often, but every so often we get the giggles over stuff. We're best friends. We're mother and daughter, and we work together. So we're very, very lucky. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Have a wonderful evening. Happy parenting.